welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be doing a wear test of the new foundation from Bite Beauty. This is the Changemaker Supercharged Micellar Foundation, or possibly Micellar or Micellar. I don't know how to say that word, doesn't matter. Anyways, we're going to be putting this one to the test and seeing how it holds up throughout the day. So to give you some information on the product before we get into the application, this I purchased through the Sephora Canada website. You can also purchase it on the Bite Beauty website. I paid $52 Canadian, and for that you do get a full fluid ounce in here. Now I do talk about the packaging when I do the application, but I'm just going to mention it briefly here as well. It is just a very nice squeeze tube. There's nothing fancy, there's nothing complicated about it, and frankly I like the simplicity of it. This is also a cruelty-free product. It is vegan and it's also gluten-free. I'm just going to head over to the Sephora website here and just read you some of the claims just so that we know what it is that Bite Beauty is marketing it as. And it says that it is a clean, long-wearing foundation with gentle, there's that word again, micellar? I don't know how to say it. Micellar technology that mimics skin texture for a natural, flawless finish. It claims to have a medium coverage with a natural finish and that it is good for normal, dry, combination, and oily skin. I don't know enough about ingredients to speak intelligently about them, so I'm not even going to bother trying. If you are concerned about ingredients or if you have information about ingredients, either feel free to list any pros or cons down in the comments or do your own research before you pick up this product. I can talk about the things that they say are in here, but I don't know if they're good. I don't know if it's BS, so it's kind of pointless for me to do it. All right, with that out of the way, let's get into the application and I talk about sort of how I felt in terms of the blendability of it, the coverage, all that good stuff. You'll see. Here we go. Oh, my friends, the dark circle struggle is real. Thank God for coffee. Thank God for foundation and concealer. We're going to get into the foundation, but just give me a second. So I'm going to prime my face and I'm going to use the Dior Backstage Primer to do so. I like using this one when I'm testing out foundations because it doesn't add a ton of radiance. It doesn't really pore fill. It's just more of a moisturizing canvas, if anything. And I find that it doesn't really manipulate the foundation that goes on top of it, so it's not skewing the results, if you will. So I'm just going to go ahead and apply this one. Alright, so just given that a moment to sink in. It's not sticky or anything like that. Again, like I said, just kind of feels like skincare, honestly. It just feels very moisturizing. But now we are ready to go in with the foundation. So I'm going to do half of my face with a sponge, half of my face with a brush, just to see if there's any difference in terms of how it applies and the coverage, all that kind of thing. 9 times out of 10, 9.9 times out of 10, I do use a brush, mainly because I forget to wet my damn sponge, and then I'm too lazy to go and find a sink to do so. So I'm going to use a Delium brush. This is the 988 BDHD Phase 1. It's just a gigantic, nice, fluffy blending foundation brush. And then the sponge that I'm going to use is from Shop Miss A. It's one of their Paw sponges. I love these. Honestly, if you're in the market for a sponge, I would highly recommend checking these ones out before you go and drop 20 some odd dollars on a beauty blender. I'm pretty sure these ones are about $2 and the proceeds go to an animal charity. So do your good deed for the day. All right. Let's get into this. Straight out of the gate, I will say I really like the packaging on this. There's nothing pretentious about it. There's nothing over the top. It's just a nice squeeze tube, fully functional. That is what I'm looking for, and I just really appreciate the minimalism of it all. Okay, so I've got it on the back of my hand. I'm just going to dot it on my face and then I'll blend from there. Now I will say I don't always have good luck in terms of choosing my shade online, but I think I did a pretty okay job with this one. I'm happy with the shade match that I've got going on. and I credit the fact that they have 32 shades to choose from. I would argue, just in terms of looking at the shade selection online here, I think there could have been a bit more attention paid to the deeper shades for sure. But there is a good spectrum going on here, and the descriptors are quite helpful as well. So I have shade L25, so I know offhand that it's going to be light because of the L. And then the 25 is described as light with warm golden undertone, which is the undertone that I look for, and it just happened to work out well for me this time. Okay, I'm going to blend this side with the brush, and then we'll do the other side with the sponge. Yeah, I think the shade match is pretty much spot on for what I need. All right. All right, so some very basic information for you. I like the formula of it. It is thicker, but it's not sticky at all. Like, it blends out quite nicely. It's not runny. I just like the consistency of it. When I put it on the back of my hand, if I move my hand around, it doesn't move around, doesn't run anywhere, but it blends out very nicely. Another point, it doesn't really smell like anything at all. I can't detect anything. And even when I kind of try it straight from the packaging, there's like a very, very light hint of something, but no identifiable smell. Like, I can't put my finger on what it is. I think it's just the fact that there's something in the tube, so I can smell the something, but this is not a fragranced product at all. And even when I'm applying it, I'm not getting like wafts of scent or anything like that. So that's nice. Okay, so in terms of coverage, I would call this a medium coverage. You saw how much I applied. It wasn't a ton of foundation. I feel like I could add a bit more if I wanted to build up the coverage, but frankly, I'm happy with what I've got going on here. I would consider it to be medium coverage. I have like little freckles over here. I can still see them. I can still see the little freckles on my nose poking through as well, but the skin tone is very even, so it is accomplishing what I would want it to do. In terms of like the brush side versus the sponge side, up close I really can't see any difference, and looking in the viewfinder I don't see a difference, to be honest. The coverage looks to be the same. I'm not having any issues with the blendability using either tool. I don't have bounce marks over here. I don't have brush strokes over here. Both of them blended out quite nicely. In terms of like the little problem areas where things tend to sort of pool up, there's a little bit of foundation like in the crease here. I'm not going to blame the foundation for that. I'm going to blame the giant ass brush that I used. I would likely go in when I'm doing my concealer and just blend those areas out as well. Overall, it does feel quite nice on the skin. It's very light. There is a bit of tackiness to my skin. It's only been on for 2 minutes, so I'm not anticipating that it would be fully dried down by then. I do typically set my foundation with just a very light amount of powder. Some people prefer not to, but it's just part of my routine and what I enjoy doing. And I would do that in this case because it doesn't really have that like cream to powder finish that some foundations have, where I don't feel the need to put any more powder on it. But this one I would. But overall, like, I really like the blendability of it. I like that it's nice and lightweight. Even as I'm talking, I'm not feeling it moving around on my skin with me. I don't feel any like heaviness or anything of that sort. Sometimes when you put foundation on, it just like, you feel like you're applying a mask and you can just feel it sitting on your skin. I feel like this is sort of like sinking in to where I would want it. I'm not seeing any pore issues. I don't know if I'm gonna have this video up before my drugstore video. if this one's up first, wait for it. But I did try the new CoverGirl foundation, and I'm not typically one to deal with pore issues. Like, you don't really see them on me. But that foundation just like highlighted every pore that I never knew I had. And this is not doing that. The problem that I had, particularly with the CoverGirl one, was up in this area, and I am not seeing any issue at all with this. I also really like the finish of this foundation. It's got a nice natural finish. It's not mattifying, it's not dewy. It honestly just looks like skin, both in the viewfinder and in the mirror. So I like the way that it applies. All right, so it is currently 10:15 in the morning. I'm going to finish up my makeup, go about my day, and then I will check in later on today to show you sort of how it's worn. Before we do that though, I am going to turn the lights down a bit and come in a bit closer, just so you can see how it actually looks on my skin without all the bright lights on it. So there we go. I've got my ring light on the lowest setting, and I've turned my other two lights off. And you can see like it's not creasing up in the nose, it's not pooling up in between my eyebrows, and both sides look the same, which I appreciate. So I'm not seeing any problem areas. The match is good in terms of the color, and that's all I have to say, because now I'm just saying the same things over and over again. All right, I'm gonna go about my day, and I will check back in with you guys later. Bye for now. Welcome back, friends. It is now 9:30 at night, so I've had my makeup on for almost 12 hours. I have my handy dandy double-sided mirror here, and I'm gonna flip it over to the scary magnified side and take a look, because from here in the viewfinder, there is no problem. On the regular side of the mirror, no problem. But the magnified side tends to show you everything you don't want to see about your skin. So I can see that I have little specks of glitter from my eyeshadow on my face. I can see that I need to clean up my brows. But what I don't see are a ton of obvious signs of wear with the foundation. The cheeks are looking good. There is like a tiny bit of modeling of the foundation along here, which frankly I expect, because after I applied my makeup, I did another video in which I tried on probably like 10 lipsticks and then wiped them off with a makeup wipe. So it kind of moves stuff around, also wiping my mouth after I eat. This gets a lot of action, if you will, just from like wipe my nose, all that kind of stuff. I am seeing a little bit of pooling of the foundation in this area as well, which again, I'm not surprised by. That does happen with virtually every foundation that I try, but this is nowhere near to the degree that it often gets to be. Like sometimes you can see just exactly where the foundation has broken up across my forehead. For frame of reference, I have normal skin, so I don't have any real oily spots. I don't have a lot of flaking and dryness. My skin is pretty mundane. Having said all that, like this is really not that bad at all in there. And again, from a distance, I can't see it. It's only when I have this like crazy I keep calling it magnified thing going on. There is a little bit of settling into the pores along the top of my nose, but nothing atrocious. And again, it's been 12 hours, so I'm not particularly upset about that. But this entire area is still holding up quite nicely. There's a little bit of movement of the foundation going on in here, so there's really nothing left over here. But again, from blowing my nose and stuff like that, it's winter, it happens. I'm not surprised by that at all. So overall, I'm really impressed with this foundation. I really am. I also don't notice like any real oxidization of it, nor did I as it was drying down. It's still, I think, about as good of a match as I can get with the rest of my body here, or at least with my neck. I love the finish of this foundation. It just looks like skin. I don't see the foundation sitting on top of the skin. It's been 12 hours, but it doesn't feel heavy. I don't have that like urge to just like take the mask off. You know what I mean? Sometimes you wear foundations and you're like, I just want to wash my face. I don't have that urge. I did set it with a little bit of powder. There's no tackiness on my skin. Nothing has like rubbed off or transferred. It's a beautiful foundation and I'm really, really happy with this. It makes me excited to see where Bite Beauty is going to go with their brand, because since their inception, they've just been lip products. As far as I know, I can't remember anything else that they've ever put out aside from lip products. So it's interesting to see them come out with some complexion products and to do so well with it. It makes me want to try their primer and their powder as well, but I've already like blown the don't buy any foundations in 2020 thing out of the water. I'm holding strong for now, at least, on buying more powders and buying more primers. So at least I know the foundation works really well. And like I said, I'm interested to see where they go with their line and if there's any other additions to their products. So that is all I have to say about it, guys. I'm very happy with this foundation. I think it works really well for me. I can't speak to somebody who has extremely dry skin or very oily skin. All I can say is that I have not experienced any breakup of the product, nor is it clinging to any little dry areas that I do have. They're quite minimal, but at this time of year, like I said, I do sometimes get them around my nose with some flaking, and I'm not seeing anything accentuate any of that today. All right. So with that, I'm going to wrap this video up here. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch, and I will see you in my next one. Until then, just be a decent human being. Bye for now.